You and Nan were fabulous in your
Oh.
concert.
Thank you.
Your voices blended so beautifully.
Oh,
Just like that.
absolutely. That was wonderful.
Yeah, they clashed really good.
Yeah.
Dave.
You know,
Boy,
it was
you
funny.
are full of mischief tonight, Dave.
He's feeling his oats.
Oh, here, you sit. Oh my
Bark,
God.
bark. Bark, bark, bark.
See the
I
dog.
think I'll need to say goodnight now.
Hey, we do have Farish Day here. If we can get,
Oh,
did
that would
she
be
read? Did she read a Hafiz poem?
No.
Nope, she's just been a
not.
lurker today.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
well.
just was quiet.
Well, let's.
Oh, there she is.
Wow, silence, man.
He was probably
You
drawing.
sing, you sing as your arti to Baba, but I'll share my arti to Baba.
Nice. Oh my God, that's good.
You did that today?
Yes.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
God.
You did a great job. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Actually, I did 2 today.
Where's the other one?
It's here somewhere.
Did you do this with Marla?
No, after Marla. I did this one with Marla.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, beautiful.
Wow,
That's
Finish Day, you're so
good.
good. Holy cow.
You got talent, kid.
I don't, how do you people, you and Joe both, you have talents with writing and with art. It's just amazing to me that that people have so many talent. I mean, lots of people do, I guess. But it seems like you're really blessed.
I'm convinced anybody can draw, really. It's a matter of just practicing, learning some basics, and come to class if you want to try it.
I do want to try it. I couldn't do it today, but anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
you
Jeff
show it?
asked for a Hafiz.
Finish it, John.
Yeah.
Can you
Now.
show it? Can you show it again?
Vale,
Please.
vale.
Merci. Thank
This is,
you. Wow. Look at
You
that.
really got her face right. Oh my goodness.
Unbelievable.
And also the look, that look.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Mera, Mera.
I'm finding that Mara is far harder to draw than Baba because
Really? Yeah.
she's got such amazingly delicate features.
Yes.
She is just so beautiful and subtle. Nasreen, the other one.
Oh gosh. Wow.
You did a great job with that one too.
Thank you so much.
Both of
The
these
smile and wow.
I'm
both
getting
in one
better.
day? Both in one day?
Yeah, both of these today.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh,
So now
Farish-
a poet, a Hafiz.
Farish Day, you've got a light that's right above your head that's kind of blinding.
Jeff, it's my halo.
Oh, you haven't got it on. You haven't got it on right.
Let me try it on again.
It's okay, adjusting.
All right,
She
sorry
drew
about
2
that.
pictures of Baba.
Yeah.
She got a halo.
Hi, Shailaja.
Hi. So
right.
beautiful.
Is that you?
I'll get a Hafiz going here in a minute.
Wow.
All
It
right.
says that, or was that Jason?
No, she drew 2 pictures of Baba. She got a halo.
You think so? If it's that easy. Gosh, I'm in heaven already.
Yeah.
But awesome.
All right, here is Ghazal 47. See if I can attempt to read it in Farsi.
Yes.
Couple of lines for Nasreen June. Okay.
Thank you, Azizam. Thank you.
خدا چه صورت ابروی دلربای تو بست گشاد کار من اندر کرشمه های تو بست هزار سرو چمن را به خاک راه نشاند زمانه تا قصب زرکش قبای تو بست قبای I don't know. I get confused with as and a's. Okay, so the translation goes, when God painted your heart-stealing face and brows, he tied my salvation to your flirtatious play. Time brought 1,000 cypresses to wait on the dirt road of the path, while it adorned your silken garment with golden threads. The morning robbed the peace of heart from the nightingale and me, when it tied both of our hearts to the music of pining for you. The morning breeze opened the heart of the bud and 100 knots in my affairs, while it tied my heart to the path of longing for you. The passage of time made me content with being tied to you, but what is the use, since it tied the other end of the string to your pleasure? Don't tie a knot in my poor heart like the pouch of a musk deer. It already has a pact with your not opening tresses. You were to be in another life, O time of union. Don't fault my heart for fastening hope to your loyalty. Someday the bud of each heart will open from your breeze, for those who tie their hearts to the longing for your presence. I said, to flee your tyranny, I will leave this town. He laughed and said, go ahead, Hafez, who is binding your foot?
Can you read it once again?
Hamasho, all of it.
Yeah.
All of it reread?
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Thank you. When God painted your heart-stealing face and brows, he tied my salvation to your flirtatious play. Time brought 1,000 cypresses to wait on the dirt road of the path, while it adorned your silken garment with golden threads. And this, I think, is the allusion to the beauties in the world, the Maya. Time brought 1,000 cypresses to wait on the dirt road of the path, while it adorned your silken garment with golden threads. The morning robbed the peace of heart from the nightingale and me, when it tied both of our hearts to the music of pining for you. The morning breeze opened the heart of the bud and 100 knots in my affairs, while it tied my heart to the path of longing for you. The passage of time made me content with being tied to you, but what is the use, since it tied the other end of the string to your pleasure? Don't tie a knot in my poor heart like the pouch of a musk deer. It already has a pact with your not opening tresses. You were to be in another life, O time of union. Don't fault my heart for fastening hope to your loyalty. Someday the bud of each heart will open from your breeze for those who tie their hearts to the longing for your presence. I said, to flee your tyranny, I will leave this town. He laughed and said, go ahead, Hafez. Who is binding your foot?
Beautiful.
What was that part about his tresses? There was one line that was hard to understand. I mean, there are quite a few, but anyway, towards the bottom.
All right, let me go back.
It's like the knot of your tresses or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably heard it wrong.
No, you heard it. He's talking about Well, there's 2 times he talks about the knot. One is the knot of my affairs. He opens the knot of my affairs. And the other one is, let's see. It already has a pact with your not opening tresses. Here, don't tie a knot in my poor heart like the pouch of a musk deer. Of course, the musk deer, you know, he carries his own amazing, wonderful scent, but he keeps looking for it and doesn't know that it's carrying it like us. It says that it already has a pact with your not opening tresses. So the deer is us looking for divine love in the world, going around looking for it. But it already has a pact with not opening tresses can be interpreted as, you know, the life itself is the way to salvation. And Baba's, I guess Hafiz's allusion to tresses is that as the sanskaras unfold the tresses of the hair and the knots in the hair, the knots of our sanskaras open up.
And is that KNOT? Is that what he's saying? Not of your tresses?
Hair, yeah. Tresses, hair, Maya, illusion, sanskaras, the knots being the sanskaras that tie us to illusion.
There's
That's
a nice
at least
line.
what I can come up with. Who knows what the real meaning is?
There's a nice line. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a nice line from Rumi where he says, that reminds me of that, with a basket of freshly baked bread on your head, you go from door to door begging for a few dry crusts.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I figured if I show up at late night, I'll be inspired to resume Hafez.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you have to go to bed shortly after, we'll put you at the head of the line.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wide awake tonight for some reason.
So is that one you translated, Farishte?
Yeah, I translate all the ones I read, Elizabeth.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what we got. We got Jay Moeller from Mexico, right? Oh, and
I'm here from Mexico. Hola.
what's that?
Hello. Yep.
Yeah, good. And I see Cliff there. He's got a whole township named after him. Really, Briarcliff. It's his place. You should see him go around, you know, with his head in the air among all these fancy houses. And Jeremy, I see Jeremy's there. And Meph. And Nasreen, I actually saw Nasreen. She's usually in the shadows. Does anybody have anything, any kind of Baba story or anything that comes to mind? What would be nice sometime is to get VJ. VJ has shared his experience of meeting Baba when he was a little boy, but also his father was very, you read about his father in Lord Mayhare, and sometime if we could get him to share the story of his father coming to Baba. I see his initials down there, but
Jeff, somebody said today is
with the Jai Baba, there is some interruption with the net.
What's that?
Yeah.
Internet troubles.
Oh, there is some interruption with the net. I always wanted to ask you, when you had coffee with Baba, in the cafe. Who were two guys with you?
You're asking me when Baba appeared to a couple of us?
Yes, he's asking who was with you at that time.
Two people, but two people he wouldn't know. Yeah, this happened. Baba appeared to three of us about a few days after he had dropped his body. But that's another whole story. This is in about early February 1969. But I can share that sometime. I have shared it before. I'd like to hear from some of you. I do have something that I don't know. I'll see what you think. You know, when Ramakrishna was a perfect master back in the latter part of the 1800s. And there are things that he said on the weekend to the people that came that became known as the Gospel of Ramakrishna. But there were things that he said to his disciples during the week, and that wasn't recorded. I mean, that kind of, it wasn't published so much. It came word of mouth. And the same thing with the Mandali. Often what the Mandali said in Mandali Hall was one thing, but then there were things that came out, I don't know if you would call it back channels, that came out more privately. And I could, at some point I could read, I wrote some down, and you might be interested in hearing a slightly different picture of the Mandali than, I mean, I can, it was in a letter I wrote, but it's only, I'll read just one part of it. What do you think? Should I go ahead or not?
Yes, please.
Okay. I wrote here, this is some in response to somebody. You might find the following very interesting about what the experience of the Mandali was like, as I gathered over the years from hints in being around them. This is postgraduate Baba, an inside view, and not for general consumption, as it might cause someone to feel that they are falling short in their love for Baba. But anyway, so in other words, this was the Mandali's life, not necessarily that we have to adopt it. One day in the mid-1970s, with many young Baba lovers gathered in Mandali Hall, Erich was telling stories of being with Baba. At one point, when there was a pause in the room, I blurted out, "Erich, I have a feeling that if I were to inhabit your body for a half hour, all I would want to do is go unconscious and asleep." He gave me such a momentary flash of acknowledgement, so instantaneously that I may have been the only one who caught his look. He said nothing in response, but I felt sure that I had stumbled upon something profound. I had felt for some time that he was inwardly bearing tremendous suffering for Baba, while always appearing relaxed and easygoing with us. I knew that if I were to inhabit his body, I would be absolutely crushed. Being with Baba was what I imagined it would be like being with St. Francis, who willingly suffered so profoundly in his love for Jesus. Many years later, a buddy of mine, Dan Ladinsky, went a step further and actually asked Erich what his inner experience was like. And he shared this. Are you, is that intelligible so far? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Do you think I should go on?
Yeah, don't spare
Okay.
the punchline.
So this is what Dan Ladinsky said. Once I asked Erich from as deep a place as this monkey could summon, saying, he's saying this to Erich, how is it possible you appear so normal? Actually, I even shouted that at him, at Merazad, in the context of a milestone between us. And he did not respond until the next day. When we were alone walking, and I could not really repeat all, I really could not repeat all he said. It would be just too off the Richter scale for anyone to believe. For few may even believe all here so far. But a part of what he said was, and this is verbatim, so this is Danny quoting Erich. Danny, I use all of my tremendous strength every second to appear normal. If I did not, I could easily collapse on the ground in profound, profound gratitude to God and just dissolve and disappear. For anything I can look at or perceive is so miraculous to me and can give me such divine delight and amazement. Well, as I just said, I use all my strength to appear normal and not be overwhelmed like a must. And I can appear normal perfectly. I can be perfectly poised, for that is the way I can best serve my beloved. That was an eye-opener for Danny. But again, this was something he and I had suspected. But Erich never shared such things in the gatherings in Mandalay Hall. In this case, Erich revealed this privately and under some pressure. There is another exchange with Erich that is very telling. Danny, in his usual colloquial way, blurted out, "You Mandalay take a nip now and then." Erich responded, "What do you mean by that, Danny?" "You take a shot of his bliss." "What do you mean? What makes you say that?" Erich replied. "I can see it in the eyes of the Mandalay sometime." Erich suddenly became serious. "Brother, we are the chalices that hold the beloved's wine. Others may come and help themselves, but for us, we never take a drop." Was that clear? I mean,
Yes.
Most of us are trying to get a drop of wine here and there, and they're pushing the glass away. So, brothers, we are like the chalices that hold the beloved's wine. Others may come and help themselves, but for us, we never take a drop. What do you think of that, Farishte?
Well, what can I say, Jeff? I appreciate it very much. I appreciate that their whole sole purpose was to be the chalice for others.
Yeah.
And those of us who had the good fortune to hang around them, I remember when I went to India, it was with the sole purpose of checking this Meher Baba out to see if indeed he is who he says he is, because those statements from my Baba link that he is Sahib Zaman and he's all of the above, Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna, Buddha, Ram, kind of altered my whole life. I said, wait a second, either this Meher Baba is the biggest charlatan that ever lived, or he's telling the truth. And by God, if he's telling the truth, I better leave everything and go find out, because this is the greatest news on the planet at the moment. So 6 months later, after I heard Baba's name, I was in India, and they say you can only judge a tree by their fruit. And when I was in the company of those precious gems of Meher Baba, I knew without a shadow of the doubt that he was the real deal.
Beautiful. Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, they were so real and so naturally real and loving and empathetic.
But aside from that naturalness, they had such a light in them. They held a light in them.
Yeah.
That is beyond words.
Here's another one with Bao Kalchuri. Anyone have anything to say to that, or any comments? Mayor Prasad, he's thinking of having some fish down at Ivers on Puget Sound, but not tonight. Here's another. This was an exchange that I had with Bao Kalchuri. Here's another inside perspective that is very revealing that came from Bao Kalchuri, also one of Baba's intimate mandali. I was writing this to somebody who had never met the mandali, who wanted to know what they were like. And they got a little bit more, they wanted a little bit more of an inside picture. So I wrote this. So this may have been in the 1990s. I was in one of the back rooms of the trust compound at Ahmednagar giving Bao a massage. I knew I had him to myself, in my clutches, so to speak. And I could ask him any question and he would have to answer. At one point during the massage, I said, Bao, I'm going to quote to you a famous Sufi saying, and I'm wondering whether you found it to be true for you and the mandali. And the quote is, and it's actually from Mansour Halaj, suffering is he, happiness is from him.
What?
Lying face down on the bed, he conveyed very poignantly in a low voice, we were only aware of his suffering, year after year, day in and day out, moment to moment. But anyone who visited Meherzad received the happiness from him. So I said, the mandali all shared willingly in Baba's suffering, and yet they were always ready to entertain him if it would lighten his burden. They all spoke the same deeply human language of the heart. How could they enjoy bliss in his presence when their beloved was weighed down by the infinite suffering of the world? But their suffering was unique. It was chosen freely, as someone climbing Mount Everest who might endure excruciating pain, yet they are sustained by the enthusiasm of reaching the summit. For the mandali, it was actually different, for their goal was to climb to the summit of suffering, and the ultimate reward, realization, had no appeal to them. Incredible. And I feel that the profound empathy that they felt for those of us who met them in our visits to India, that empathy flowed from their excruciating sensitivity to Baba's infinite suffering.
What that tells me, Jeff, is that they were so beyond being a seeker. They already were where they needed to be used as Meher Baba's, the avatar's hands and feet and pure vessels of his work.
Yeah, and quite a few of them are, Baba said, would be perfect masters in their next life. Pendu and Padri and Dr. Harry Kenmore and money. He's the one who created all these great perfect masters. Maybe not all of them, but I would say most of them that we come to appreciate in their next lives.
Like they were examples of complete surrenderance. Yeah, the Mandali.
Yeah.
What I'd like to know, and I haven't ran into this other than in metaphor in Baukalchuri's Hindi version of Lord Meher, in the couplet form. And he writes, I've always often wondered how the five perfect masters entice the avatar to come down. What is that process? And what Bauji writes that they go and plead with him and say, please come, it's time, we're suffering, humanity is in dire straits, you're needed down here, come. But how does that all happen in the beyond our conception and imagination? What do they do?
Yeah, they bring him down. We got a couple world wars, Baba, down here. Help.
Maybe he'll change his mind and come not in 700 years, but tomorrow.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, there's some other beautiful quotes of I wish I had them right here. Things that Eric said about Baba that are quite beautiful. Yeah.
What are you going to share?
No, I would have to find them. There were some emails, but it would be hard for me to find. Yeah. But we can find out something. Oh, there's Alan.
I was going to say it's time for Alan's appearance.
It's time for Alan. We ran out of material.
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, I just got this book, The Boys.
Oh yeah.
I haven't really read anything about it in it yet, except some of these beautiful interviews that they have with Esfandiar. And if you like, I can share some. I don't know if that's necessarily legal, but I don't want to copyright anything. But it's beautiful. This is a beautiful statement that he made. I'd like to share it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is Seattle, Sahavas, June 1991. Was anybody there?
I bet Mayor Prasad. 91?
No, 91. Yeah.
No, I came here in 93. So.
93.
Oh, okay. All right. So Narshawan, editor of Glow magazine, attends this session with Esfandiar. Question: seeing Baba while on the inner planes, what was this like? Esfandiar: indescribable. If the path opens, we can experience it, but one really cannot describe it. Question: sometimes our experience is good, even blissful, but there are times when we cannot handle this and turn away. And then Narshawan responds to this statement, and this is something, Jeff, that you talked about, has to do with the tears. I recall in the earlier years, there was once a meeting of volunteers all sitting at Baba's feet. I was not a volunteer, so was seated outside. Somehow Baba found me through Erich and brought me inside to the group. We started singing Arti. Suddenly, I started sobbing. As teardrops fell into my hands, they were ice cold. So full of joy. I could not contain it. I tried to recreate this feeling, but it never happened again. All you can do is beg for it to come back. And that was Narshawan. And this is another question, Esfandiar. After Baba dropped the body, Esfandiar says his inner experiences became stronger. Could he expand on the inner enhancement that occurred? It is like when one of your relatives dies. Baba was like a father to me. I wanted to see him more, so my work to achieve this therefore became more intense. When Isfandiar massaged Baba's feet during his 1963 visit, did he first ask permission? I did that while in the Prem ashram and did not ask permission. Again, he was like a parent to me. We do have this level of love you speak about. We do not have this level of love you speak about. What can we do to bring this love into our own existence? We all have that love, but that love is in most cases working in an opposite way. Our love and energy go towards family and material things. We hammer a nail that has so many heads, but we should make the nail one-headed only. But anyways, I wanted to share that part where, and then he goes on to talk about he didn't really want to joke with Baba in 1963, and he didn't understand why people were making jokes with him, and he's like, "Why are you bothering Baba with this?" But I just felt like that part of him talking about, it's like when one of your relatives dies. Baba was like a father to me. I wanted to see him more, so my work to achieve this therefore became more intense. It's like that's such a sweet perspective or lens on it. I've never really heard that from someone who had that kind of. If you would imagine one of your relatives dies or somebody that you love so deeply and you want to see them again, where do you go but within?
Yeah. And that became his quest.
That's just so beautiful to me.
The other thing that struck me about what you read, Alan, was the multiple nails that were hammering should be just one nail.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that he also talks about when they were asking him about meditation and what he does, and he talks about certain methods, and then when you're on the path, sometimes you can touch in on that place of love that is kind of with what you've talked about it, Jeff, where it's like you can touch in on that place where no matter what you're doing or what's happening, there is that existence of that love that you can reach in for wherever you are. And then somebody asked, is this state permanent, or does the experience come and go? And he said, it is permanent in a way when one can bring it into existence anytime one wishes. That is, one is able to bring it back anytime. I just thought that perspective was really interesting too.
At will. Yeah.
At will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Erich used to say, cool tears are for the beloved, warm tears are for the self.
Mm.
And if you notice when the tears are falling, are they warm or are they cool? Cool tears are for the beloved, and warm tears are for the self. I mean, it's all right to have tears. I mean, it's not like, oh, shoot. You know.
These are hot tears. I
Me
don't know.
again. Oh.
Let me jump in the refrigerator.
What does that mean?
It's an actual sense. It's actually a sensation. You can tell.
They're more automatic based on the inner feelings of divine love, as opposed to feeling sorry for the stupid drama of your life, my life, our life.
Yeah. Yeah,
or physical pain or whatever, loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
That's I don't think that's ever happened to me, except once I can recall the first time, because I went to Australia and I heard Sage, I don't know her last name, but Sage, she sang for the first time in a small apartment, Ishtiaki, but she sang it in her own way, and it was just like a very quiet, it was just like a couple of us there, and we had just had dinner, and it was this Indian family, and they were just so sweet, and they just were like, the mom was like hand feeding us with this like rice and like meat stuff, and it was just like so sweet to be there. I mean, halfway across the world, and then she just sings this Ishtihaki, and I just like, I was the first time I didn't even know that song or where it was from or what it was, but it just like, it felt like it just split me in half like lightning. It just like I just couldn't even. I was like, I can't even hear. I was just so intense and ecstatic, but so heartbreaking. And that was the only time that I was like, I didn't even know that the tears were coming. It was like there was just my face was wet. You know when you're like my face is wet and you're like it's cold and you're like that's not normal. Like it was a strange reaction, but I was like yeah, that's probably one of the only times I can think of.
Yeah. It's quite rare.
Yeah.
Quite rare, I guess, unless it's for most of us.
Yeah. I don't think you can, like he said, you can't really recreate these. He tried to, all those years, Narshawan tried to recreate this feeling, but it never happened again.
Yeah.
All you can do is beg for it to come back. That's a sweet line. You guys probably know Narshawan Anzar.
Yeah. Yeah, he lives up in New Jersey.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, such a sweet feeling to this book.
Patty, you got anything that occurs to you?
You're
Oh.
muted.
Oh, can't hear you yet.
Yeah. I just said I was enjoying the conversation, and I'm in the middle of reading The Boys as well as the Padre book, and then I did want to share a couple things, but I don't know if they're appropriate to where we are right now in what's happening.
We mix vegetarian and
full meat eating.
The pot,
yeah,
right.
We eat anything here. Omnivores.
Well, okay, so today I don't know if Connie Clem's on or not, but she shared a wonderful prayer. There's two prayers I have here, and these are from an effort and grace that the Oregon group was doing today. And one is by Robert Browning. And it's just, should I read it? It's a very short prayer. Okay. And it's called just prayer. And it's unanswered yet. Faith can be unanswered. Her feet were firmly planted on the rock. Amidst the wildest storms, she stands undaunted, nor quails before the loudest thunder shock. She knows omnipotence, has heard her prayer, and cries, "It shall be done sometime, somewhere." Unanswered yet? Nay, do not say ungranted. Perhaps your part is not yet wholly done. The work began when your first prayer was uttered, and God will finish when He has begun. If you will keep the incense burning there, His glory you shall see sometime, somewhere. Robert Browning.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, and who offered this was Leslie Tejada today. And it was, but it sure evokes how I hear the heart's prayer in everyone who seems to participate in these chats and the effort and grace, and the idea that His glory you shall see sometime, somewhere in His timing. You know, that's what comes to me. And when I hear the things about Esfandiar and those Mandali who we hold in such reverence as so completely natural, but yet such vessels for His love, that to me is what helps keep the faith and helps keep the prayers coming, you know. And also, Jeff, there is one other piece, and everyone, there's another piece. I know Wayne has sent you a couple of things from Lynn Ott, and I can't
Yeah.
remember if I read something. Did you read the one on Mayor Baba manifesting yet? It's just a 2-page. It's not the long one on the sojourn of the soul.
You mean from the book Mayor Baba Manifesting?
No, this was in the Glow magazine. It came, I mean, excuse me, the Awakener magazine, and it was by Lynn Ott, but it was in parts. That what Lynn Ott was referring to was when he made his first, it was a description of making his first pilgrimage and meeting Baba, and then his second time when he went to India, and then his third time, and talking about what the gifts were. And that related to Sunday nights, the gift of what God gives to man, and the gift of love. And he felt like he was given the gift of love on the first, but it's a thicker printout, and he gave it to you in the electronic. Wayne sent it to you. We were talking about it yesterday, and that's, but this other one is about an article that Lynn wrote in regards to Mayor Baba manifesting, and this was mostly brought up around the New Life, when New Life was happening on just in the October. And it's so profound to me, because what I'm experiencing in what appears to be awakening in so many of us is that when Baba said his work was done, complete, when he dropped his body 100% to his satisfaction, what I'm kind of understanding now is, or think I'm understanding in my heart, because my heart is seeing more synchronicities of infinity, the timelessness of, I'm short on words here, but on how Baba works through all of us, and the universal work that does. And so this is a piece I'll read. Lynn Ott said,
Wait 1 second.
Oh,
Wait
yeah.
1 second. Some of the people from India may not know Lynn Ott.
Oh yeah,
but
go right ahead.
He
Absolutely.
met Baba in 1966, and he was an artist and basically legally blind. He could barely see. When he went to see Baba in 1966. He was a very inspired intellect.
Yeah.
And so I just mentioned this. He told me this when on his first trip, on his trip to meet Baba. You know, he knew God. Baba was God in human form, and he was, you know, he'd been kind of, that's how he was thinking of Baba. And then when he got all the way to India and Ahmednagar, and then when he found himself going down the approach road to Merazad, he suddenly got panic stricken, because just in a few minutes he was going to meet God himself, almost like meeting the Wizard of Oz. And he had this impulse just to fling open the door and run off into the nearby fields, and he just couldn't face this, you know. But he managed to control that impulse, and he made it, you know, into Merazad, and they took him in to Mandalay Hall, and Baba was sitting in his chair just on the right, and he said Baba was just this little man. And the first thing that Baba said, with Erich interpreting, "I am more human than you are." And that just disarmed all, I mean, just the sight of Baba as just this very natural, present person. I am more human than you are. And he was so greatly relieved.
Wow.
He wasn't meeting some, you know, what in his mind he had imagined Baba would be. He was so relieved to find that Baba was very human. Yeah. And he was, because he was so, his eyesight was so impaired, Baba had a light brought in to illuminate his face, so that Lynn could see him deeply, because he, you know, he painted many portraits of Baba the rest of his life. And so Baba had that, had him have a good, clear look at his face. So anyway, that's just giving you some of the people who don't know about
Right.
Lynn Ott. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
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 I think he had Baba had Lynn Ott feel his face,
Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and he had the curtain removed, slightly parted, so that the sun would come from behind and it would light up his face, and in that bright light he could see Baba clearly.
And Baba would reach over and touch his cheek to make sure, being blind, that he had done a clean job of shaving. That was he did that with Dr. Kinmar too, who was also blind. That was his kind of affectionate way, whether they had done a good job of shaving. But yeah, go ahead, Patty.
Well, yeah, this is interesting. He has a great intellect, and I loved that this was brought out, and this was in regards to the new life. The avatar comes to effect a change from within. He uses, for the purpose, while alive on earth, his divine free sanskaras to alter both the fate and destiny of the universe. The result of his work on earth will push humanity into an extreme state of helplessness and hopelessness. Then the whole world will become an arena for the living of the new life, which will enable humanity to throw off its accumulations of unnatural impressions and get established in the life of truth. This new life will enable the gross conscious human being to get established in the life of eternity. And this in turn will produce the remedies from within for all the external problems of the world. The world's predicament will be corrected from the inside out. Our imagining that we can correct all the world's confusion from the surface only is what causes worldwide dismay over the universal affairs. The new life is the gradual changing of consciousness from within, a change of heart. We can feel confident that Baba has already changed everything on the inside. We have but to attune ourselves to this and to see it manifest in our exterior lives. He has sent us out upon a new adventure. It is our inner change of consciousness. Everything in the world will come into realignment with this new consciousness, and the helplessness and hopelessness increasingly experienced amidst all of humanity will lead us at last to humanity's redemption. And this is what I'm thinking that the Effort and Grace book is, Darwin is telling us that it's an inward process. And what was so fascinating for me to read this, written in 1985, that somehow Lynn Ott had figured out that that was part of what had happened. And there's a little more to this article that speaks more to that. But it to me is watching all of us and experiencing this. It is through the heart. And Bob has already got it all done. And our part is the effort to kind of continue it. I mean, to continue the looking into the inquiry and to the heart's process. And I witnessed this through these conversations with everyone and settling into my heart, basically, So anyway, that's what I had to offer.
Yeah, beautiful. He wrote that just beautifully. And I liked what he said is that Baba has made the change already within.
Yeah, yes.
And it's a matter of our tuning in
Yes.
what he has done within us.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how I linked it into Darwin Shaw, because it just seems like that's what's happening right now. But he did it all. The timelessness of the avatar, right? It's just, it's happening. And we seem to be in a place of it manifesting in everyone, I think. And of course, COVID has allowed a lot more inquiry into that place of heart.
And, you know, one thing that Bao Churi said is it's not like the disciples of Jesus went and converted people. Jesus had already made the change in people, and they gave the name of the person who had done the change.
Right.
They didn't change. They didn't really, I mean, in the real sense, didn't convert anybody. People felt a change within them. And but who made this change? And when they heard Jesus's name, they knew that he was the one who had done this.
Yeah.
So it's different from going around and trying to convince, browbeat or brainwash people into submission.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jesus, let me share you. Oh, I can't share the screen. There is a very fascinating picture of Jesus in the Winchester Cathedral. Apparently, this was shown in Netflix Crowns episode. I'm pasting. Is there a way for me to share?
What's that?
Is there a way for me to share the screen? Who can enable that?
Maybe Alan might know. I don't.
Yeah,
you have to be the host.
Prasad, I can share.
Alan, you might be able to do it. You're a co-host.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
So go to security.
Security.
Down below.
Allow participants to share screen.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Yeah. Let me do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Check this out.
Arishte, if you're still awake, we have to end with Hafiz.
This is the cathedral in Winchester, and my brother sent me. Look at the belly of Jesus.
Oh, yeah. There's Baba's image there.
Yeah. I saw this in multiple websites. This is from Pinterest, but there's a similar thing here.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I can definitely see Baba there.
Yeah.
Wow. Very neat.
Yeah. May I suggest something here, Meher Prasad?
Yeah, I posted the link in the chat.
But Meher Prasad, that is Photoshop. That is not that is definitely, that's what, I mean, people who can do it. I mean, I'll do something like that and I will also be able to, because it's circulating all around the social media. And that certainly is Photoshop. I can do, I mean, I'll do it and I'll share it with you tomorrow. You're pretty surprised.
It looks like just shadows.
Looks real. Looks very real.
Yeah.
But it's from multiple websites, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's circulating. I mean, I've got it from 3 different groups.
Huh. Well, at least they're getting Baba up there.
That's
yeah.
Hey, Alan, are you able to get a shot of the moon?
Yeah. The upside.
What was that?
Can you get the moon's an image of the moon? Mara used to see Baba's image in the moon, and I'll show it to you. If you can get a certain the moon from a full moon from a certain distance.
Full moon, certain distance. All right, let's see.
If it's too close, you can't see it. It has to be a slight distance.
Okay, let's see if I can.
This is Baba in the moon that Mara used to see.
Let me see if I can screen share here.
And this one wasn't photoshopped.
Let's see. Share.
Ooh, okay. Okay, now I would say the one that's right there that you got the arrow on. That's just Baba's face there. No, where you had the arrow.
This one?
Well, that's but it looks better on this one. Go straight up, the one above. Now, if you tilt your screen, that's Baba's profile. That you're right about near his nose and mustache. There, up a little bit is his eye. That whole side of his face, that is his cheek. Come down a little bit, and see that big white area. No, to your go to your that's his neck, and right up above a little bit is his cheek. Can you folks see that?
Oh man, I don't know.
I can see it totally, Jeff.
Yeah, I can see that. He's looking to the side.
Yeah, I can see too, Jeff.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I saw it.
Absolutely.
It's like
It's right there.
Yeah. It's like he's looking upwards.
Yeah, he's looking up and he's
Yeah,
so
he's looking
clear.
up.
Oh my
Yeah.
I can't see
Yeah,
it.
okay.
I don't see it.
Unbelievable. Oh Lord.
Can you show it again, sir?
Is it the
Jeff,
profile?
can you show it again, please?
It's
Right
the
there,
profile,
that's it.
Alan.
Yeah.
It's the profile.
Yeah. That's right.
You have to kind of tilt your your
Tilt
computer
it.
a bit.
Counterclockwise?
I'm not
It's like-
and I'm seeing Baba right there. Baba is looking up. I can't see clearly. I can see his
Yeah.
ear,
Yeah.
his hair, his eyes, his mustache, his nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Really?
so
Can you,
perfect.
Can you show?
Here.
Where's
Jeff, can
it?
you show it again, please?
What's that?
It's right
Can you
here.
show it again, please?
That's the same as the big one, right?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same as the big one.
Yeah.
But the
Jeff,
big-
how you knew that? How you knew that was the image that she sees Baba?
I mean, I think we kind of knew that was the one she was talking about.
You got lucky?
Yeah, this is when our eyes were better. We could actually see these things.
Where's Baba's nose?
Okay, okay, Alan, go to his
hang
nose
on.
there.
So as
Right
far as I
there.
know, this is his neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's his cheek.
His cheek or his neck?
That's it. Well, that go
This
up
is
a
his
little
cheek.
bit. Go up a little bit. That's his cheek. Now to your left is his mustache.
Yeah.
Right in there. That's his mustache.
Yes, yes,
And
you
right
got
above
it.
that is his nose.
Nose, keep going up. No,
Now
the
you're outside of
other,
his face.
the other way. Yes, his nose.
That's his nose, and then go up. That's his eye right there.
His eyes. Yeah.
It's his profile.
I don't see it.
I don't see it.
See it.
Hey guys, can I screen share for a minute? I kind of
Yeah.
Believe it.
Yeah, let me stop the share. There we
Yeah.
go. I still can't see it, guys.
Some images are better. I mean,
Oh.
you get a certain distance. Some of them are better.
Could you could you make me co-host, Alan?
Yeah, how do I do that?
Just go on my name and click
More.
more or something.
Does anyone have a photo of the photo of the moon during Muhammad's time?
Yeah, with a
No,
star.
this only says rename, put it in waiting room, report, or remove.
Oh,
Okay, I've taken a screenshot of it and enlarged it. How do I share that?
well, Alan has to make us co-host.
So, Alan, you got your homework for the next week.
Yeah, so I'm going next to your name here for Ashday, and I do the drop down menu of more, and then there's no thing that says to make you co-host.
All right, then.
Parishte, I can share. I mean, I am able to see. I can share.
Can you make her co-host?
I can't, but I can share that image. I mean,
Okay.
I'm able to see that. Yeah.
He's the co-host.
So,
Oh yes,
here,
thank you. You can draw it.
here
Can you draw it?
draw.
Can you draw on? Is there a way
Uh,
to put to like stencil it out?
How come he can screen share and I can't? That's weird.
You can't. You don't have the option to screen share.
No.
It says all participants can screen share.
Huh.
okay, Alan, I have
Try it again first day.
Well, after he's done.
Alan, I've circled that picture and WhatsApped it to you. So if you can get it.
Whoever's
sounds
screen
like
sharing
Jake's
right
kid.
now is gonna. It looks like they're gonna do something like. They're
And
gonna
it
draw.
Alan,
image.
Alan, can you hear me?
Like,
Alan?
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear you.
okay. I've sent you a WhatsApp and I've circled that picture. So can you
okay.
see it and then share it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are other images that are a little bit clearer.
are you able to see my screen now?
This is Sham or
Jaysima.
Jaysima.
Jaysima, yeah, we see your screen.
Yeah.
Okay. You are seeing the image? No.
Yes. I do see the image.
But we don't see your, but you can't circle it somehow.
I've managed to circle it and sent it as a WhatsApp to Alan.
Okay, good.
You know, it's going to require a direct outlining of every part of his face because I still don't see it.
All right, guys.
Whoever is quite large. It's Baba's left profile.
Left profile.
It's so great.
And it's right kind of in the, if you look at the one that's to the top right, you can, it's right almost in the middle of that.
I see him in the top left, looking down. So up higher, up higher, up higher.
It's another one.
Up higher. To the kind of to the left center.
Yeah.
And you can see one eye and the mustache and the hair's kind of over his left eye for some reason.
Yeah.
Anyway. That I see a face. I don't see a face anywhere else, so I can't see the other ones.
That it's big. It's you know it's. But anyway, let's go back to.
Well, that's awesome.
We'll let you guys.
I'll find it one day.
Yeah, Mayor Prasad, were you able to see it?
I'm not sure. The one I saw was more like Baba looking like left like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the same one or not.
Well, it's this side of his face.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah.
First day, I've WhatsApped it to you as well.
The left.
Yeah. Good. And it's a full moon, so go out tonight.
Oh, tonight?
Take a look.
So who noticed this? Who was the first person to notice this?
Was yesterday.
Well, Mara used to say, Baba's Mara used to say that she saw Baba in the moon.
Mara.
And
I see.
And we all got it back when our eyes were better. Hey, you know, I wanted to mention to VJ next time, VJ, if you could give a little story of your father.
Okay.
You know, it would be really nice. Sulu is his father.
Yeah.
And there's a whole neat story about his father and Baba.
Right. Yeah. Farishte was questioning that those 5 perfect masters, how it happened. So there is a famous quote in Gita And that says ki yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuthanam. It's a Sanskrit slok which means ki whenever there is a loss of righteousness and religion and evil, so the Lord comes down on the earth to rekindle the flame of righteousness and destroy evil. And so it is a very famous quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Baba says much the same thing. Oh, hey, let me mention one thing that that I gathered from the Mandali and Darwin, and that is to always never think that Baba isn't right in front of you, looking at you, aware of you, whether you see him or not. I mean, it's almost like on an overcast day, the sun is still there. We say the sun's not out today. The sun is always there. So
always there.
That was very important from my early years with Baba. Whether or not I was able to feel that Bob was in front of me, always never feel that he's not there watching you. And in a very loving way, not some critical judge or something like that. But it's a very important thing, because if you think that he's not there, you're embracing a huge delusion. Yeah. So even through the moon, he's looking at you.
Do you remember?
Jeff, can I add something here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yesterday, I went to Guru Prasad, and I don't know how many of you know this guy, Anand Vaskar. He is a caretaker at Guru Prasad. Yeah, and coincidentally, I hadn't been to Guru Prasad the last course of 9 months, I guess. And yesterday when I went, it was open, and he said we just opened it on Thursday, and that was really very surprising. I said, well, then probably my day to come here, and meet Baba. And after sitting inside, I came out, and he was chatting with another Baba lover outside, sitting outside. And I spoke to him and I asked him to share something. He's met Meher Baba and he's worked at Meherzad for 15 years with Baba.
Yeah.
So he was a very young chap of maybe 15, 16 years when he started working. And so now that you were, saying that one's never feel that Baba's not with you. Well, this is something similar that he shared yesterday, and he said, when he he was there constantly at Meherzad from morning to evening, and he would obviously be, around Baba quite a lot. But he said, for many, many years, he said, my heart just wouldn't open up. And I never had this feeling that, being so close to the avatar, I had any experiences or I didn't feel anything from inside. There was no feeling. So one day he said, I mustered up enough courage and I decided to talk to Baba about it. So he said, Baba was sitting in that, and he said Baba would always sit in, the hall, the Mandali hall. He would sit on the chair there and he would be, talking to people. So he said, one day I went up and I told Baba, I said, Baba, nothing is happening to me. It's been so long. And why is nothing happening to me? Tell me, give me an answer. And so Baba just got up from his chair and he looked at Iraj and he just made a sign of the number 4. And so he went in. And then Iraj, looked at him and he said to him that you got to repeat. Okay, now my memory is failing me. But the 4, so I think it's whatever Zaras, I think the 3 names which are of the other avatars. And the last he said Meher Baba. And he said, you got to do this twice, once in the morning and once before you sleep. So these 4 names. And that changed his life. This guy was totally, he said, I mean, like he said, there is nothing, nothing that I will not do, he said, to be here at Guru Prasad. You know, and my own personal experience with Guru Prasad is that when I went, I won't say very recent, but yeah, I'm like following Baba since 10 years now. And when I used to go to Guru Prasad in 2010, 11, it was in shambles. The entire place was like in ruins. There was, you never felt like going. The energy was so bad. Just because it was just dilapidated and just left, you know, like to whatever, falling apart. So then in 2012, this guy took over. And since then, this place, you
Transformed.
Namita.
Lost connection.
Namita, you dropped out.
Huh?
We didn't
Sorry?
hear you for a while there. So you said he fixed it all up beautifully, and then what?
Yeah, and like yesterday when I went there and I saw this place, I was pretty amazed because he has kept it so well. Baba's room is spotlessly clean. The place outside, the garden, and you know, he invites everybody to sit in the garden. We take a chair and we sit there and we talk. He's always got a smile on his face. He's like so welcoming and so amazing. And he's always ready to share and talk to you. That is so, you know, that's a like welcome home feeling always that I get from him. And yeah, and I was just telling you, he said my daughter is, she's in a very high position in MIT, one of the universities in Pune. And I guess she's heading it or something. And he's son-in-law is a lawyer, and his entire family is doing so well. And they keep telling him, you know, he's old now, of course. And they keep telling him, why don't you just come and stay with us, you know, retire? He says, no, this is the place where my body will finally be put to rest. I'm never leaving this.
Yeah, what a lovely thing. You know.
Yeah, very lovely guy.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me of a story. I mean, this is vaguely related. No, if anybody has, yeah, there we go. Dinku has got it.
You guys see it now?
Yeah,
Now you have to tilt it. You have to tilt your computer from the right side.
Oh, you mean rotate it?
Well, no, lift your computer about a 45-degree angle from the right side, and then Baba's profile is.
Yeah. Well, you have to tilt your head or your computer.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw it, I think.
So here's the head, here's the ear.
There's the ear.
Here's the eye, here's the
Yeah.
nose.
Oh,
Chin.
thank you.
Perfect.
That helps so much. Even
Yeah.
his hair looks long, like he has a ponytail almost.
Where's Alan?
Wow, look at that.
Alan, can you see it?
Daddy.
I think I'm starting to see it more now.
Yeah, this is
That's
Baba's
his-
hair,
that's his hair.
forehead. He's carrying something on his head, but we'll ignore that. And this is his eye, this is his nose, his mustache, his lip, his chin,
Oh yeah, I see it now.
his beautiful jaw, and his neck.
I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he's looking up at the stars or the sky.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
Alan,
the one
you just-
Elizabeth was seeing is here. There's a little face here.
Yeah, I
Where?
still can't see the one that circled. I don't know. I guess I'm blind.
Wow, you can't see it? It's
Yes.
your head to the right.
Oh, I just saw it. I think.
Yeah. Good.
I think.
It's
I never had
everywhere.
used it
You
before.
see.
I think I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sun scars have to clear, you know. Oh, hey, Diane and Terry, did you see the Baba's image in the moon?
No, can you go back?
Oh yes.
Dinku, bring it back again.
It's me, it's not Dinku.
I didn't share it.
Oh,
Farishte had shared it.
Okay, so let's see. Where did it go? Did I lose it? Where did it?
Where does these children come from?
You can see many images of Baba on the moon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to kind of tilt your computer at about a 45-degree angle from the right.
Or tilt your head to the right.
But actually, it's better when it's a little smaller image.
Yeah, yeah, it's clearer then.
That's the eye.
Have you got make it smaller. Even
like
smaller.
looking up. He's looking upward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing from the show The Crown? Was Baba in the Jesus painting?
Yeah, that we were just talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, well. Good. Anybody got any story or anything?
Alan,
I would like to ask you, Jeff.
What's
it's
that?
Maharchan. It's Maharchan.
Oh, Maharchan, yeah.
Did you anytime spoke to Pendu or Ririch about the Baba's second car accident and personally talk to them about their suffering and Baba's suffering in the second automobile accident which took place on 2nd December in 1956?
Bahar jata hai?
Yeah, I mean they shared that
Especially with
extensively.
Pendu.
What's that?
With Pendu.
Yeah.
Pendu's
Yeah.
feeling on his because what we read it is only from the books, but what you might have heard from the horse mouth, that is from Pendu and Iroch, about their experiences on the accident.
Yeah. Yeah, they shared that. I mean, Eric shared that very intimately over the years.
Yeah.
You know, here's a story that you won't hear about Pendu. I mean, I don't think it's in any of the books.
Yeah, that's part.
But back in 1926, when, you know, Pendu was there at Lower Mehrabad among the Mandali, and one day Baba sent him to a well to see whether whether there was water in the well. And when he got there, it was at some distance from on the property of Mehrabad, and he went there, and it was a huge well with a wide open, large circumference. And when he went there and he looked down, it was empty, but looking down, he felt this powerful urge to throw himself into the well. And it unsettled him. I mean, he thought to himself that he didn't know that he had these suicidal tendencies, you know, and he was like, so when he came back, you know, Baba asked him about the well, and, you know, he said, well, there wasn't any water. But then Baba said, but I'm paraphrasing, but Baba said, you know, you seem like shaken. And he said, yes, Baba, when I was on the edge of that well, I felt like throwing myself in. And he was frightened. And Baba said, don't worry, that's just the power of the law of gravity. You know, you got the experience of what the force of gravity. Don't worry, I won't take you for another 30 years. So, you know, he was like consoled with that. You know, he felt, and Baba kind of put that out of his mind, but it was bothersome. So anyway, he goes on this whole life with Baba, and he was the one that built, you know, a lot of the stuff at Upper Maribod, and he made arrangements for the Baba's gatherings and everything. Very active and very robust and strong. And at one point, you know, years later, Baba said, you know, you remember when I sent you out to that well, and you know, and of course Pendu remembered, and Baba said, well, I said I wouldn't take you for 30 years, but things have changed, and I can only take part of you. And Pendu said, no, Baba, don't take part of me. Take, if you're going to take me, take all of me. And Baba said, no, I can't. And then the next week was the second accident. And Pendu was basically disabled the rest of his life. You know, broke his hip. I mean, and his tongue was so damaged that it was hard to understand him. Even what I'm relating to you was very hard to understand. And so he was so angry because he had always been able to serve Baba, and now he was kind of helpless, and he was sent out to Maribod, and he refused. Baba asked Dr. Duncan to look after him, to get him back into physical therapy, and he refused. He was so, he was useless. He felt useless with Baba. And so, but one day Baba calls Pendu out to Marizad. And when he gets out there, Balkauchuri describes this, where he's coming into Mandalay Hall, and Baba's sitting there in the chair, and Baba indicates for none of the Mandalay to help him, and he can barely walk, and he gets himself in front of Baba, and Baba says, Pendu, how are you doing? How are you feeling? He said, Baba, I can't even sleep. I'm in so much pain. It's just, you know, I'm suffering greatly. And then Baba says, did you ever think of my suffering? Get out of here. I don't want to see your face. Tells him to get out. And so he hobbles out. They take him out. And as he's leaving, Baba said, sometimes to be infinitely compassionate, I have to become infinitely cruel. And so he goes back to Maribod, and I guess sometime later, this is 56, 57 maybe, Baba calls him back and tells him, I'm going to give darshan at Maribod. This was the 58 Sahabas. And I'm putting you in charge. And for the first time in, you know, a year or a couple years, he felt Baba telling him that he would be in charge. He knew that he would be able to go back to serving Baba again. And he really did, even when we would go there in the 70s, he would be there even sometimes in a wheelchair directing all the arrangements for the Amartithi programs, where thousands upon thousands of people would be there. But what my feeling was is that for the sake of his cousin Baba, he took on that suffering, and it made it, I would say, made it easier for Baba. It may have even helped Baba to be able to walk again. He was willing to take on that suffering to make Baba's life, make Baba more available in the latter years. So that's the kind of people they were. Even though for the rest of his life he suffered greatly. Baba said he would be one of the perfect, he would be a perfect master in his next life. But yeah.
What was the experience of the Irich Mama?
Erich Erich's chest was damaged, you know, and just from the brunt of the accident. He felt very responsible. I mean, I think we talked about this a while back, but Erich felt responsible. He was the driver, and he had caused this accident to Baba. And Erich used to, years earlier, I mean, he would be so exhausted in driving Baba around that he would kind of fantasize just turning the wheel and just ending it all, just ending everything. And so when he saw Baba in the hospital, when he finally was able to see Baba, Baba went like this. And I mean, that was just, Erich felt horrible, terrible. But Baba said, do you think you could have caused that accident? You know, I basically said, I caused that accident. Don't think that you did. But that Baba kind of, you know, made him he felt terrible.
What was the gesture, Jeff? I'm sorry.
You know, like just turning the wheel and ending it all.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, Mani once asked Baba a rare question, but she has said, why did Peter deny Jesus 3 times? You know, he was one of his disciples. You know, why did he deny Jesus when they came looking for him, and he didn't acknowledge that he was connected to Jesus? And Mani asked Baba that, and Baba said, I'm paraphrasing, but the pain that caused Peter to deny Jesus 3 times was what inspired him to lay down his life in service to Jesus for the rest of his life. And it may have been, I don't know if that gesture that Baba made gave Erich the impulse to the incentive to do all that he could for Baba for the rest of his life. I mean, these are like really this is like playing hardball without a mitt.
Yeah, there's something about the difference between like traveling through the plains versus like just the total human like level of just getting ground down, and it just seems like if anyone had a choice, it'd be like, it's very hard to choose like the situations that Erich was put through. He was just kind of like over and over, just embarrassed and completely just facing situations that any of the things I read, I'm like, how would I have reacted if I was literally at a hotel, counter, and I was like, I'm sorry, I know that we just came in, but like my elder brother wants a different room and we want it for free. And then the guy's like yelling at me, and he's just like, and I have to be like, no, but actually we want to leave now. We want a refund, or we want, I don't know. It just, whatever, just all the things that he had to go through to like, and then it was his fault all the time. And it was like, geez, man,
we are
lucky.
lucky.
Too glamorous. It doesn't seem too glamorous,
They would do anything for Baba, but yeah, no, we are very fortunate that we can take Baba, in our own timing without, Baba in person, making heavy demands. I mean, like, who was it? Chanji had to tell when they were on an ocean liner one time, he had to go tell the captain of the ship to, I can't remember, slow down or speed up 3 times. I mean, like, you don't do that. Just embarrassing.
Yeah.
One time, oh, go ahead, Diane.
We have to end the night, so we had
Yeah.
a little bit of time with you, and
Good.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Always great to see you. And yeah. Well, we're kind of coming. We're coming. Well,
Me too, Jeff.
yeah.
Me too.
You have to go?
Yes, please.
All right. Well,
Sorry about that.
wonderful. We'll give my love to Payam
Yes.
and Mahmood.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will. Payam
Yeah.
was very tired tonight,
Yeah.
but we enjoy your talk very much. Everybody's talk.
Thank
شب
you.
بخیر
Yeah.
نسرین خانم.
شب بخیر عزیزم. شب بخیر.
خدا نگهدار.
قربانتون. خدا نگهدار. Good night, جای بابا.
Yeah. Jai Baba.
جای بابا.
Hodafez.
خداحافظ.
Wadafis. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
that, what you were talking about, Jeff, was reminded me of the how I feel like in the sense that I've just read what Founder was saying. Like some of us, it's like we start out and the baby doesn't just turn into a teenager overnight, and it doesn't just turn into an old man over a month. It's like you have to start out with. He said, start out with your thoughts, and that takes years and years and years. And it's like the negative or the positive, whatever thoughts you're having, like that's what I felt like when I read that. I was like, oh, that's what I feel like, what I'm constantly aware of as my ludicrous thoughts, and how it affects my actions, and like what I'm choosing to focus on. Sometimes it feels impossible to it's like a rodeo, it's like trying to hang on for 12 seconds. Just for 12 seconds, can I focus on Baba or something? But
yeah,
it feels like a different ball game than just getting completely embarrassed and destroyed, personally destroyed. Like ego smashed.
I think the thing that helps in controlling thoughts is that you find that they're really unimportant. Rather than getting in there and controlling thoughts, they have nothing to tell you about what's really essential. What's really essential, you have to feel at the heart level. Well, I think I told somebody had a bumper sticker, at the center, don't believe your thoughts.
Right.
Your intuitions, but not your thoughts.
That's what he says right here. He says, Esfandiar says, yes, that is the start. Let them come. Don't worry about the thoughts. You have to practice this for years. Eventually, you gain the habit of ignoring the thoughts.
Yeah. Hey, good. I agree. Yeah, because
but then how does that relate to sitting with Baba internally, so that anything that's happening externally is just you're being with him, though?
Wait, say that again.
So how does that relate? That's kind of I've been thinking about, like, you work with your thoughts, and we're not just meditating. So we're not just like randomly just trying to ignore our thoughts or control them, but we're aware of all the thoughts and emotions and feelings, sensations that are happening. And we're talking about that spaciousness of when you're living your life and going through the chaos, there's also simultaneously that space of where you touch in and you're just with him, and you are with him, and you have that, not feel, but you have that awareness, or that's there. How does that relate, though, for those of us who are struggling with the rodeo of all this that's happening, the chaos?
Yeah, I mean, Darwin, talks about creating inner space. That's what you're referring to in the heart. But to come from the head, I mean, this is what Erich impressed on me, to bring your conscious, it's possible to unplug awareness from looking through the lens of thought, and for it to come down to the feeling level and just follow your feeling. Don't think about it, but follow your feeling and bat your thoughts away like yellow flies, you know. Don't go with the thought, or even the thought about the thoughts about what you're feeling. I mean, I'm just saying what I gathered. He really encouraged me to bring my awareness down to the heart level and remain there. But to stay there is very difficult because there's a lot of pain in the heart, even past pain, wounds, hurts. So you have to plant your flag of consciousness down at the heart level, and that's hard to stay there abidingly, but eventually we have to do that so that we're always at the heart level. But then that eventually becomes too narrow. So then we have to start moving over to the soul. And I mean, all of these things, like you say, it takes a long time, but it seems tedious. It could be tedious, but I have never found it tedious, because
Jeff.
you want greater and greater freedom, more space, freedom. Go ahead.
Jeff.
Yeah.
How about the stillness? Because when I sit with Baba, you know, I'm trying to focus on the stillness inside. The thoughts, you know, they come and go, they come and go. They like clouds, you know. And then I try not to identify myself with the thoughts, whatever they are. I try to be connected with the stillness inside me, and presence, you know, the presence of Baba inside me, and the stillness. So I think this stillness is like the spirit, like you're talking about, on the level of the spirit, or the stillness is in the level of the heart.
Well, it's the deeper realm of the heart. It's where the heart interfaces with the soul or the spirit. That stillness. That's a beautiful place to be, and a beautiful place to develop, so that you can be there and still do the dishes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or still, you know.
But I have to keep reminding myself when I'm doing the dishes, or when I'm in the store or something, you know, I have to keep reminding myself. It's easy for me to get out of there.
Darwin says you have to have just a little bit of mind to to be kind of live a normal life, but just a little bit, you know. So you don't just walk out of the store without paying for your groceries, you know.
Jeff, this is...
Yeah, go ahead, Patty.
Yeah, this is a quote that I think benefits me greatly, that Baba said, and it's just a couple lines. It's, every moment I respond to the whole of creation. Being divine, it is wholly from love.
Beautiful.
Every moment I respond to the whole of creation. Being divine, it is wholly from love. And for me, that feels like it, when the busyness of the mind is happening, if you can drop into the heart, the love is what purifies and brings us, receiving that love. That's the Esfandiar type of love, that stillness of the lake that Lenita was speaking of. That is the stillness. That love, I think, is what it is. But he's responding to us every moment.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to tap to. I believe this. I carry this quote with me, and I have to read it frequently. Yeah.
No, exactly.
It's the infinite love of Baba, you know.
Yeah.
That we try to tap in, you know.
Yeah.
That exists, you know, is in everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
But I mentioned this before when Robert Dreyfus went to see Baba, and in 1965, he was about 25 years old at the time. But when he came back into New York on his way, I think he was on his way to Boston, the Monday night group grabbed him to ask him to share his experience. And this was the Monday night group, a lot of people who had met Baba and older people. And so he's up there in front of the room, this little Carnegie Hall. That's where I came to Baba. But they asked more, what was it like to meet Baba? And he said, I went from here to here. That was the end of his talk. But Baba brought him down to the level of the heart in that. And that same thing happened to Nashawin Nalavala, he was a very inspired intellect thinker, but when he was kind of, I think in late teens or something, Baba was, I think it was a group of Assad, and a bunch of them were sitting around Baba, and he was leaning up against Baba's chair. And when he was there, that happened to him. His consciousness dropped down to the level of heart and remained there. I mean, it goes up, but mainly its base of operations is at the heart.
So then that reminds me of when we're talking about Baba's physical body, like not we're talking about that. What it reminds me of is Baba's physical body and the concern that a human may have of like, well, he's not physically in the body anymore. So how do I really connect? How do I really feel that if I'm not like at a center or somewhere that really helps to nourish his presence? And I think when you're talking about this head to heart, it's like, it reminds me of like, again, that his presence can, if in any moment, it really is truly like in any time, anywhere, wherever you are, you can, when you drop down, you can touch in on where he currently is now, where Baba is here, is not an old man that died in 1969, but I love that, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, like when he was spasming and not that I love that, but it's just his spasming, and then he's saying, I remember this, I'm not this body. And it just shocked me when I heard that for the first time, because it was like, what do you mean you're not this body? I love you and your body, this person, like, and it is like losing. It's just very challenging to lose. I mean, just death. I understand. You intellectually understand reincarnation, sure, but like maybe you have some memories of some things, great, But then to really touch in on that beloved member that is so familiar to you in any moment, it's just so precious that we have that opportunity, to really, it doesn't matter when. You could just be like, you could sneeze and then look to the right, and then suddenly he's there, and he's just here. And it's like, that's just a beautiful grace that I think is that's something I want to remember more, that it really is possible, and it's not just like a, like, that's, they talk about it. Jeff talks about it. I don't know. I don't think it's for me though. That's not true. It's available to all of us.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't meet Baba, but I started filling in his personality, his colors, the way he behaved, and his moods, his looks, his expression. I just kind of kept filling it in until the picture I had of Baba actually turned out to be the way he related to me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I started with a blank slate. I mean, of course I had photographs, but I took all of that I heard about Baba and just started putting in the colors,
Mm.
so that he became more and more of a person right in front of me, and my imagination of what he was like turned out to be the way he is with me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
And so, if you want him to only check in on you on Saturdays, well, okay, he'll check on you, but you can have him every moment.
Yeah.
You can. Wait, I got a poem. Oh wait, do you have that book of poems that I wrote handy there?
Yeah.
You might have it.
I think I have it up there. Which one?
I think it was one of the very first ones. Through a Glass Darkly, I think it was. Dinku, is this making any sense?
This book.
Oh, can't hear you, huh?
This book was wrapped into this book.
Uh-oh.
Why, Jeff? Where is it?
I think it's one of the very first ones.
One of the very first ones?
Yeah.
Of yours?
Yeah.
Where does he reside?
No, I think it's something like Through a Glass Darkly. Maybe it's the next page.
The hourglass must be broken?
No, not that one.
No.
I think it's Through a Glass Darkly.
Yeah, that's from 1 Corinthians 13. That's really a lovely passage about love. The one that says, faith, hope, and charity, these three remain, but the greatest of these is love. But before that, he says, for now we see in part, but later we will see, I don't know what it says. We think like a child, we spoke like a child. Now we see in part, but then we'll see completely, or something like that. Basically, now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face.
Yeah, then face to face.
Yeah,
it's not
I'm
there.
sorry, I messed it up.
It's like, it starts out something like, have you ever been in a window? I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, maybe you could find it better than I can, because I'm on page 28 and I still don't see it. Yeah. This is a cool one from you, Jeff. When you find yourself trapped in the darkest subterranean cavern of your mind, in that painful place, pause and listen. There is a faint voice that won't be silenced, telling you that all this is not real. In that darkness, wait for the sure lamp carried by your soul, even if that wait seems endless, because you are in essence God, and that tiny lamp, a spark of the divine, is greater than all darkness.
Huh. I guess
Maybe it's not in this book.
Yeah, maybe it didn't. Go ahead. You guys go ahead. I'll just take a look. How weird. I thought it was right there at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't.
Jeff, it's in your book in the parallel universe.
Oh, good. We can have we're getting down toward the end here.
No, Jeff, I'm
Let's-
already in bed, covers covering my head. Sorry.
Oh, no Hafiz. Oh my God.
But-
Look at, she
but-
leaves us. God.
I'll give you Hafiz next time,
She
please.
promised us a dessert after this meal and then withdrew it.
My cat is sleeping on my chest. I cannot disturb her.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can't do that.
Good night, all. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Thank you, Farishte.
Hey, Baba.
Good night, Farishte.
Hey, Baba.
Hey,
Hey,
Baba.
here's one that I wrote that I found it on my computer. I don't even remember having written it. It's called His Tomb. My house is overrun with junk. In the attic, the accumulation of trunks of memorabilia, knickknacks, things I thought I might have a use for at some time. The basement full of old books I'll never read again, old manuscripts in the hallways, books of designs and plans for the future, other people's stuff they've stored with me, dog leavings, furniture losing its stuffing, 2 or 3 of everything. And then one morning I wake up and how extraordinarily fortuitous. Someone has backed a huge garbage truck right up to the front of the house, the back end opening perfectly level with the porch steps. And I begin unloading all this mess. In fact, I go insane throwing things out, back and forth, and heave ho, not sorting through anything, not looking back, not dreaming ahead. And what do they call this great unsentimental junk remover? His tomb.
That's actually a double entendre. You can look at it 2 ways.
That's lovely, Jeff.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great poem.
I have no recollection of having written it. I was going back on the computer and I ran across it.
Hey, do you have it on your end, the Through a Glass Darkly?
I probably have it.
I have it, but I wish you could. I want you to read it.
Oh no, you read it. You go. Well, I got the book. No, you read it.
It's on page 90. I'd love for you to read it.
Me?
Yeah, because it's you're great. You're great at this.
Okay.
I can't.
So this is, when talking about how Baba is always there. Through a glass darkly. Have you ever watched someone through your window and even waved to them, but because of the reflection, they couldn't see you? That's how our beloved is with us, following our every mood and feeling, full of delight at our happiness and hurt when we feel bad about ourselves. And yet we often don't know he's there. Why? Because we keep seeing our own reflection in front of us. But do this, step very close to the window and look in, and you'll be eternally surprised by the beloved's warm, adoring face.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Reminds me of this little episode that happened in Quetta in, I think, 1923. I don't remember the exact year, but somewhere around that time, where Baba was staying with some of his mandali in a 2-floor bungalow. Some of you may have heard this story, but I hope I'm remembering this correctly. But I think it was Gaimai or Gulmai that was passing through on the first floor, and she heard the telephone ringing. So she picked up and she said hello, and she realized that it was Baba on the other end, and he was on the second floor. And this is 1923, so he was talking, and Baba said, "Can you hear me?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "Can you see me?" And she said, "No." "But you can hear me?" And she said, "Yes." "Remember that there are times when you will not be able to see me, but you can hear me. but it is important for you to keep the connection. You have to keep this phone connection, just like you cannot hear me if you don't have this phone connection. Similarly, your heart connection with me, make sure you have that alive. Then, even though you may not see me, I am with you and you can hear me.
Beautiful. Beautiful last words. Man, that's wonderful. God, how touching.
I'm paraphrasing those. I don't know if those were exact Baba words, but
No, but it's the you got the whole spirit of it. That's the, Erich, sometimes he was, relate stories slightly differently, but the spirit, the loving spirit was always the same. You conveyed it perfectly. Well, Dinesh.
Hi, Jai Baba.
Yeah. Any words from you? Anything that comes to mind?
Real things are given and taken in silence only.
Uh-huh. Okay. Real things are given and received in silence. That's the saying that's in the lagoon cabin in Myrtle Beach. Things that are
That's my
real
fa-
are
Things
given.
that are real are given and received in silence.
Yeah,
Received in
in silence.
silence.
Yeah.
The ones I like are the ones that are in the barn. And each one kind of, you just have to stand there and stare at it and take it in. I don't know what they were, but that's always one of the things that I like to do at the center is go to the barn and reread each of those plaques.
Yeah,
They
Baba
were,
asked those to be put up.
Sahara sayings.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I think Marwan Jesawala gathered those sayings and they were sent. So any last minute things?
Yeah, can you read page 8 of your in that book?
This time you read page 8.
All right. I read this after I had seen you, Jeff, at after Adrian and I got married, and that was such a sweet gathering. And I was on the plane, and I just flipped to this open, and I was feeling that heartache of leaving. And it goes like, it says, "Where does he reside? The hourglass must be broken before one is released into sacred time. You ask what I'm doing? I'm listening for the precious sound of his footsteps echoing down the winding corridor of this eternal moment." Yeah, it meant a lot to me.
Yeah. It's all right here. Because he is here. Yeah. So, Jay, it's great. We're connected up with Mexico through Jay and Elizabeth Chapel Hill, Dinku Bombay, Namita Pune, Vijay Pune, and Mef, are you still there?
We have two
Tom
MEFs.
Huh?
There's two MEFs, one capital MEF and one lowercase.
Yeah, that's her real self and then her lower self.
That's good.
You got to cover all the bases. So, Dinku?
Yeah, Jeff, going back to what you asked me before.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but as I told you before that, the first time I went there, I felt I'd come home when I went to Mehrabad. And ever since then, I don't know, everyone seems so familiar. it's like, you know, when we talk about Baba, it's like I'm reliving that that whole episode. A lot of them, not all, but a lot of them. And I can't explain it, but it just feels as if I know. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And you know, we've been running into each other century after century, and we'll be bumping into each other for the next 700 years. And you know what's amazing, and I think about it, there's one lady that lived here in Myrtle Beach, and she adopted a couple of girls from Russia. And so they came to this country and they were living here, and one of them was there working, you know, at Mehrabad, working in the archives and everything. So even if you are born way off in some remote country, because of your link, someone is even going to adopt you and bring you back in to Baba's world.
Wow.
So we're linked
That's
up.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I often wonder about family connections, and especially complicated family connections. And I think, what does this mean? What is the important, how does Baba connect with these people, you know, who may not be Baba lovers, but who are intimately involved because they're family members of some sort? And it just makes me really wonder about what the linkages were that might have been established previously that we don't really know about. And yet here are these people who are very close to you in terms of family relationship, not necessarily close in terms of thinking or love of Baba or anything like that, but just it's perplexing to me.
There are a couple of things that Baba said. Well, one thing is he takes our family under his wing, even whether they believe in him or not. It's kind of miraculous that, because you know they may have shown no interest in Baba, even very resistant. And the other is Baba said that during wartime, you sometimes you're getting placed into families sometimes that you don't have as deep a connection with as you might at other times. There, you know, people are being killed and they're being rerouted to families. Baba said, I think he said that sometimes it might be one of your siblings that you have the deepest connection with. But Erich used to say that eventually your spiritual connections and your worldly connections become one and the same. So your closest Baba friends become your aunts and uncles and your grandchildren and whatever.
You mean a next life?
They start to line up. Well, after a long time, I think they start to connect up a little bit. So you think of Erich's family, you know, so many of them all came in ready to be devoted to Baba.
Did Baba ever mention roughly how long it takes to take your next body?
Well, he's a big range. It can happen quite quickly, or it can take, you know, a while. Sometimes it can take years.
Oh,
But I'm sure it has to do with if say there was a family that was important for you to grow up in, and you had to wait a little while until the couple got married and they had their first child. You could be that first child. In other words, it's karmically set up or spiritually set up, and so you come in when when it can be done in a natural way.
I wonder what you're doing during that time if you've already gone through all your heaven and hells.
Just treading water. No, I think that we kind of stay with Baba and everything until we get our next assignment, our next destination.
And so often he says, somebody has come to me, you know, and I often wondered what that meant, if they were just in resting for a while till their next birth, or.
Well, Baba said, Don Stevens asked Baba what he meant by that, because originally it was like if you came to Baba, you remembered him at dying at your last moments, you would go get liberated. But Baba said he amended that or added to that you go and be with him, and then Baba places you in a Baba family to grow up.
Nice. Oh, nice.
So Mayor Prasad obviously was with Baba in his last life, and Baba has placed him in a Baba family. And you know, I mean, that doesn't mean that didn't happen for us too. I mean, but he would reroute people in Baba families so you could grow up in a Baba atmosphere. I mean, that's just what Baba said. But you know, when you grow up in Brazil, I mean, it's hard to, you know. You have to kind of ship her off to New York.
Father M.R.K. Sharma.
What's that?
Jeff.
Yeah.
Is Meher Prasad's father is M.R.K. Sharma?
Yeah, M.R.K. Sharma only.
Yeah, actually, Irving Luck made some films of M.R.K. Sharma, interviews.
Yeah, I'm not getting all of that, VJ, but
Vijay, I can send his email address to you. Vijay, can you hear me out? I can send you Meher Prasad's email to you.
Yeah, because he has those videos. Irving Luck, he made videos of his father, M.R.K. Sharma, and it is available with him. So he wanted me to let him know.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Vijay. I'll find out. I didn't know that he made a video.
That's of your father?
Yeah. He came to, yeah. And actually, Irving Luck in 73-74, he visited India, many cities, and he made all.
Yeah. Made a lot of, took a lot of movies of people who met Baba. Yeah, Mayor Prasad, if you can share your family and their connection and meeting with Baba.
They didn't meet Baba. My father did not meet Baba.
He didn't.
No, he saw him when he was interred, when he was in the.
And you did too when you were 3 years old, right?
Yeah, 2.
2 years old, yeah. Hey,
Do you remember? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember that at all. No.
But he was taken down the steps to the Baba's body. Yeah. Well, folks, we'll catch you guys. It's a little bit after 12 here. And hey, love to Gary and Wayne, Patty. Yeah.
Yes, I will. I'll speak with Wayne. He'll watch this. He watches them the next day usually. So
yeah,
that's sweet.
Oh wow, we got an audience.
Yeah, see you. Love to Adrian, Elizabeth. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Dinesh, you look comfortable there. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Alan, for all your contributions.
Thank you.
Hello to Adrian.
Thank you.
I miss
Thank you,
seeing her.
Deeku.
Yeah, I will.
Jai Baba.
Jai
Bye-bye.
Baba.
Good night,
Jai
everybody.
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Have a terrific
Jai Baba.
day.
Thank you, everybody.
Jai.
Jai.